Imagine yourself drifting back, far back, through the mists of time. The air is warm, scented with cypress and olive. You hear the gentle lapping of water against ancient stone. Somewhere a nightingale sings. You are in Rome, the eternal city. But not the Rome of today. This is a city of marble and myth, of emperors and poets, of triumph and tragedy. Let us journey together back through time and relive the story of Rome. A story that begins with a legend and ends with a whisper. A story of rise and fall. Let the gentle rhythm of history carry you as we wander through the centuries, from the birth of Rome to the twilight of empire. Breathe deeply, let go, and let the story begin. Let us begin, as all stories do, in the quiet before the dawn. Long before the marble columns and golden domes, before the legions marched and the emperors ruled, there was only a river winding its way through gentle hills. The Tiber, ancient and patient, flowed through a land of wild beauty. Its banks were lined with reeds and willows, and the air was filled with the songs of birds and the hum of insects. It was here, according to legend, that two brothers were born. Their names were Romulus and Remus. Their story is a story of fate, of rivalry, and of destiny. The tale begins with a king, a usurper, and a prophecy. Numitor, the rightful king of Alba Longa, was overthrown by his brother Amulius. To secure his throne, Amulius ordered that Numitor's daughter, Rhea Silvia, become a Vestal virgin sworn to chastity. But the gods had other plans. Mars, the god of war, visited Rhea Silvia, and she bore twin sons. Fearing the prophecy that the twins would one day overthrow him, Amulius ordered them cast into the river. But the river, swollen with spring rains, carried them gently to safety. There, beneath the shade of a fig tree, a she-wolf found them. She nursed them, cared for them, until a shepherd named Faustulus discovered the boys and raised them as his own. Romulus and Remus grew strong and bold. They learned the ways of the wild, the secrets of the forest, the language of the river. They became leaders among the shepherds, protectors of the land. One day, the truth of their birth was revealed. The brothers returned to Alba Longa, overthrew Amulius, and restored their grandfather Numitor to the throne. But their destiny lay elsewhere. They returned to the banks of the Tiber, to the place where the she-wolf had saved them. There they decided to found a city. But even brothers can quarrel. A dispute arose over where the city should stand and who should rule it. In a moment of anger, Romulus struck down Remus. With sorrow and resolve, Romulus founded the city that would bear his name, Rome. He marked the boundaries with a plough, called upon the gods, and began to build. The first walls rose, simple and strong. The first homes clustered on the Palatine Hill. The first citizens gathered, drawn by the promise of a new beginning. Rome was born, not in peace, but in struggle, not in certainty, but in hope. As you drift, imagine the city in its infancy. The hills are green, the air is fresh, fires burn in the hearths of simple homes. Children laugh and play, the future is unwritten, the story of Rome has begun. The city grew, slowly at first. Romulus welcomed all who came, runaways, exiles, wanderers. Rome became a haven for the bold and the desperate, a place where anyone could find a new life. But a city needs more than people. It needs order and law and tradition. Romulus became the first king of Rome, and after him came others: Numa Pompilius, Tullus Hostilius, Ancus Marcius. Each king left his mark. Numa the Wise brought peace and religion. He built temples, established rituals, taught the people to honor the gods. Under his rule, Rome became a city of faith. Tullus, the warrior, led Rome to battle. He conquered neighboring towns, expanded the city's power, and taught the Romans the art of war. Ancus, the builder, constructed bridges and walls, founded new settlements, and brought prosperity. The kings ruled with a mixture of wisdom and strength. They were advised by the Senate, a council of elders, and served by priests and magistrates. The city grew, spreading across the 7 hills: Palatine, Capitoline, Aventine, Caelian, Esquiline, Viminal, and Quirinal. The Romans learned from their neighbors, the Etruscans. They adopted new customs, new gods, new ways of building and governing. The Etruscans taught them to build with stone, to drain the marshes, to lay out streets and forums. Rome became a city of promise, a city of destiny. But power breeds ambition, and ambition breeds conflict. The last king, Tarquin the Proud, ruled with arrogance and cruelty. His tyranny sparked a rebellion, and the people rose up. The kings were overthrown, the monarchy ended, a new era began. The Romans, proud and independent, vowed never again to be ruled by a king. They created a new system, a republic where power belonged to the people. The Senate became the heart of Rome, a council of wise men who debated and decided the fate of the city. 2 consuls were elected each year, sharing power, checking each other's ambition. The people, the plebeians, gained a voice through their own representatives, the tribunes. Laws were written down, rights were protected, and justice was sought. But the Republic was not without its struggles. Rome was surrounded by enemies. Etruscans to the north, Latins to the south, Sabines and Volscians all around. The city was often at war, defending its walls, expanding its borders. The Romans were resilient. They built roads and aqueducts, founded colonies, forged alliances. They learned to adapt, to endure, to overcome. The greatest challenge came from across the sea, from Carthage, a powerful city in North Africa. The Punic Wars raged for decades as Rome and Carthage fought for control of the Mediterranean. Hannibal, the Carthaginian general, crossed the Alps with elephants, striking fear into the heart of Rome. But the Romans did not yield. They fought with courage and cunning, and in the end they prevailed. Rome emerged victorious, master of the Mediterranean. The Republic was strong, but beneath the surface, tensions simmered. Wealth and power flowed into the city, but so did inequality and unrest. The gap between rich and poor widened. Ambitious men sought to bend the Republic to their will. The stage was set for a new chapter, a chapter of heroes and villains, of triumph and tragedy. From the chaos of civil war, a new order slowly emerged. Julius Caesar's death left a power vacuum, and Rome was once again plunged into uncertainty. But among the turmoil, one man would rise above the rest: Octavian, Caesar's adopted son. Patient, shrewd, and determined, Octavian outmaneuvered his rivals, including the charismatic Mark Antony and the enchanting Cleopatra. Through battles and alliances, he secured his place as Rome's unchallenged leader. The Senate, weary of conflict, granted him the title Augustus, the revered one. Thus began the Roman Empire. Augustus ruled with wisdom and restraint. He restored temples, reformed laws, and brought peace to a city that had known too much bloodshed. The gates of the Temple of Janus, symbolizing war, were closed for the first time in generations. The Pax Romana, the Roman peace, had begun. Under Augustus, Rome flourished. Marble buildings gleamed in the sunlight. Theatres and baths welcomed citizens from all walks of life. Markets overflowed with goods from distant lands, silks from the east, spices from Africa, glass from Egypt. Roads stretched like veins across the empire, connecting provinces from Britannia to Syria. The legions stood watch at the frontiers, their discipline and loyalty unmatched. In the city, life was vibrant and diverse. Senators debated in the forum. Merchants haggled in the markets. Children played in the shadow of grand monuments. The poor found solace in public baths and free grain, while the wealthy hosted lavish banquets in villas adorned with mosaics and fountains. Festivals filled the calendar: Saturnalia, Lupercalia, triumphs for victorious generals. The people of Rome, citizens and foreigners alike, felt the pulse of a city at its zenith. As you drift, imagine the gentle hum of daily life in ancient Rome. The distant sound of a lyre, the laughter of children, the soft splash of water in a fountain. The empire is young, strong, and full of promise. The centuries that followed Augustus saw a parade of emperors, each leaving their mark on the city and the world. Some ruled with wisdom and justice, guiding Rome to new heights. Others were consumed by ambition, fear, or madness, their reigns marked by scandal and bloodshed. Tiberius, Augustus's successor, was a reluctant ruler, preferring the solitude of Capri to the bustle of Rome. Caligula, his successor, became infamous for his extravagance and cruelty, his name whispered in fear long after his death. Claudius, once thought a fool, surprised all by expanding the empire and reforming its laws. Nero, the last of the Julio-Claudian line, was both artist and tyrant. His reign saw the great fire of Rome, the persecution of Christians, and the construction of a golden palace that dazzled and appalled the people. Yet even in the darkest times, Rome endured. After Nero's fall, a year of chaos brought 4 emperors in quick succession until Vespasian restored order and began the construction of the Colosseum, a symbol of Rome's resilience. The Flavian and Antonine dynasties brought stability and prosperity. Emperors like Trajan expanded the empire to its greatest extent, conquering Dacia and bringing wealth to the city. Hadrian, a lover of art and architecture, traveled the provinces, building walls and cities, uniting the empire with a vision of peace. Marcus Aurelius, philosopher and ruler, guided Rome through war and plague, his meditations a testament to the burdens of power. But not all emperors were so noble. Commodus, obsessed with gladiatorial games, saw himself as a living god. Elagabalus shocked the city with his eccentricities. Caracalla, seeking to secure his rule, extended citizenship to all free men in the empire, forever changing the nature of Rome. Through glory and madness, triumph and tragedy, the empire endured. The city grew, its people adapted, and the story of Rome continued, ever changing, ever eternal. As you drift, picture the faces of emperors carved in marble, their eyes gazing out across the centuries. The empire is vast, its rulers as varied as the stars. At its height, the Roman Empire stretched from the windswept moors of Britannia to the sun-baked sands of Egypt, from the wild forests of Germania to the bustling markets of Syria. More than 50 million people lived under the eagle's shadow, speaking many languages, worshipping many gods, and bringing their own customs to the tapestry of Roman life. The empire was a marvel of organization and engineering. Roads, straight and enduring, connected distant provinces to the heart of Rome. Aqueducts carried fresh water across valleys and hills, feeding fountains, baths and homes. Amphitheaters echoed with the cheers of crowds, while libraries and temples stood as monuments to knowledge and faith. In the provinces, Roman governors ruled with a blend of authority and adaptation. Local traditions were respected as long as taxes were paid and peace was kept. Cities flourished, Londinium in the north, Carthago in Africa, Antioch in the east. Each city bore the mark of Rome, forums, baths, temples, and the ever-present statue of the emperor. Trade flowed along the empire's arteries. Olive oil from Hispania, grain from Egypt, wine from Gaul, spices from Arabia, silk from China. Markets bustled with goods and people, a constant exchange of ideas and wealth. The army, disciplined and loyal, guarded the frontiers. Legionaries built forts and roads, married local women, and settled in distant lands, spreading Roman ways far beyond the city's walls. Life in the empire was a blend of old and new, local and foreign, tradition and innovation. In Rome itself, the population swelled. The city was a mosaic of neighborhoods, rich and poor, native and immigrant, bustling and serene. Senators debated in marble halls, artisans crafted mosaics and pottery, bakers filled the air with the scent of fresh bread. The poor lived in crowded insulae, while the wealthy retreated to villas with gardens and pools. Public baths offered a place to relax, gossip, and escape the summer heat. The Circus Maximus thundered with the excitement of chariot races, while the Colosseum hosted games that drew crowds from across the empire. Religion was everywhere. Temples to Jupiter, Mars and Venus, shrines to household gods, and quietly at first, gatherings of Christians in hidden rooms. The empire was a world of contrasts, splendor and squalor, peace and unrest, hope and fear. Yet through it all, the people of Rome found ways to live, to love, to dream. As you drift, imagine the gentle hum of a city at peace, the distant laughter of the children, the soft glow of lanterns in the night. The empire is at its height, vast and magnificent, a world unto itself. But even the greatest empires must face the trials of time. As the centuries passed, cracks began to appear in Rome's mighty walls. The frontiers grew restless. Invaders pressed in from the north and east, Goths, Vandals, Persians, and more. The legions, once invincible, were stretched thin. Plague swept through the cities. Famine and unrest followed. The economy faltered. Corruption crept into the halls of power. Emperors rose and fell with dizzying speed, some ruling for only days or weeks. The city itself was not immune. Fires raged, riots erupted, and the people grew weary. In a desperate bid to save the empire, Emperor Diocletian divided it in two, east and west, each with its own ruler. The city of Rome remained a symbol, but power shifted to new capitals. Milan, Ravenna, and in the east, the shining city of Constantinople. Amidst the turmoil, a new faith began to spread. Christianity, once persecuted, found favor with the emperors. Churches rose beside temples. The old gods faded, and a new hope took root in the hearts of the people. Yet the challenges did not cease. The Western Empire, weakened and beset by enemies, struggled to survive. The Eastern Empire, stronger and more resilient, would endure for centuries more. As you drift, imagine the city in twilight. The streets are quieter now. Statues stand in silent witness to the passing of ages. The empire is changing, its fate uncertain, its story not yet done. The Western Empire, once the heart of the ancient world, now stood vulnerable and exposed. The legions that had once guarded its borders were depleted, their loyalty tested by years of hardship and neglect. Across the Rhine and Danube, waves of migrating peoples pressed ever closer. Goths, Vandals, Huns and others, each seeking new lands and safety from even greater threats. Rome's leaders struggled to hold the empire together. Some tried diplomacy, others relied on force. But the resources of the West were stretched thin. The city of Rome itself, once thought invincible, became a target. In the year 410, the unimaginable happened. Alaric and his Visigoth warriors entered the city. For 3 days, Rome was at the mercy of the invaders. Homes were plundered, treasures taken, and the people left in shock. The world gasped, for the eternal city had fallen, yet Rome endured, battered but not destroyed. The empire limped on, its power fading with each passing year. In 455, the Vandals came, sacking the city once more. The Senate, once the proud voice of the people, was now a shadow of its former self. Emperors rose and fell, some mere puppets of powerful generals or foreign kings. In 476, the last emperor of the West, Romulus Augustulus, was deposed by the Germanic chieftain Odoacer. The Western Roman Empire, as it had been known, was no more. The city of Rome, stripped of its power, became a quiet relic of a vanished age. Yet even in its decline, Rome remained a symbol. Its roads, its laws, its language, and its dreams lived on in the hearts of those who came after. As you drift, imagine the city in the soft light of dawn. The ruins stand silent, ivy creeping over broken columns. Birds sing in the empty forums. The empire has fallen, but the story is not yet over. Though the empire had crumbled, the legacy of Rome endured. In the east, the Byzantine Empire flourished, its capital at Constantinople shining as a beacon of culture and power for 1,000 years more. Roman law became the foundation for justice in lands far beyond Italy. The Latin language, once spoken in the streets of Rome, evolved into the Romance languages, Italian, French, Spanish, Portuguese, and Romanian, spoken by millions across continents. Roman architecture inspired cathedrals, palaces, and government buildings for centuries to come. The arches, domes, and columns of Rome became symbols of strength and beauty. The idea of Rome, of a united and ordered world, lingered in the dreams of kings and emperors, popes and poets. The city itself, though changed, never truly died. Pilgrims came to walk its ancient streets, to marvel at the Colosseum and the Pantheon, to feel the weight of history in every stone. Artists and thinkers found inspiration in its ruins, weaving the memory of Rome into the fabric of Western civilization. Even today, the spirit of Rome lives on, in our laws, our languages, our cities, and our imaginations. The echoes of the empire can still be heard. As you drift towards sleep, let the story of Rome settle gently in your mind. The rise and fall, the glory and the sorrow, the enduring hope that from every ending something new is born. The eternal city rests beneath the stars, its story woven into the night.